Hello, my frisky ponies. Did y'all used to watch Craig Ferguson when he would say that? Oh no, that was so long ago, man. That was 10 years ago. This is something today I've been thinking about for a while. Not frisky ponies, but the subject of this video, which is sometimes I reflect on my personality. Not personality type. I know I talk about personality typology, but I'm just talking about the more surface level, like how I act, like little quirks. And a lot of people are like, "Wow, you're you're like a weird person." I got a comment the other day, a great comment that was like, "I hope to God this is a parody or he's putting on a character." No, it's really me. Generally, something I know about myself is that my personality, the way I am today, is it's a cobbled together personality. I see in myself all these other people that I have absorbed parts of them. You know what I mean? And it's a little weird. I hope people can relate to this and I'm not just some freak. It's common knowledge, right? Or maybe I just made it up that humans are creatures of imitation. I mean, little kids, little babies imitate their parents, right? The baby is trying to just do what they see. They're just trying to fit in. And that's something that I think never really leaves us. Even as adults, our personality is a little bit more solidified, but you're still, I think, ever changing, even if it's slightly, based on the people around you and what you're taking in. But I know, like, growing up, especially when I was in, the preteen and teenage years, I was just like really absorbing my friends' personalities. And maybe it's because I didn't have much of one and I was just trying to figure out how to fit in. Like, especially when I think back on not think back on it, think on now, my sense of humor is from me just imitating these other guys. Like when I was in Boy Scouts, there were guys with like crazy senses of humor, and I was just like trying to keep up. And it's something that you just end up learning. And then in high school, my two best friends, they had like a more, I don't know, kind of sly, playful sense of humor, which I also absorbed a bit. Now, of course, there are things that are just that I brought to the table. Maybe I rubbed off on other people because I am not like exactly like them. But there are times when I say something and I'm like, oh, that's my friend Blaine from high school. Of course, there are the times in life that are really scary when you say something and you're like, oh my gosh, that's my dad talking. That's my grandma talking right now. And that's when you really feel you get afraid because you're like, I'm never gonna be like them, and then you are them. And it can even be people you don't know, like celebrities. I mean, you see especially little kids who are trying to shape themselves, and they see music stars and movie stars and all that, and they're trying to just copy what they see as being cool so that they can get an edge on everyone else. And you know what? A lot of this happens subconsciously. It's not like purposeful. But in my life, have taken it to me. I don't know if it's an extreme, but I've taken it to a level where I'm consciously like trying to replicate what other people do. Like I will. Maybe this is weird. I don't know. I take things from other people on purpose, and sometimes I don't do this so much anymore. Like it's been a while, but even as recently as, I don't know, a few years ago, I would like find someone that I wanted to pattern something off of. Not like my whole life, but just like some element, even if it's just like an attitude. And I would pick this person and just like pretend to be them almost. Like I was playing a character. I think in a way it's helped me because if you pick the right people, like if you pick stupid people, then it's not so good. But when you pick the successful people or you see something you like in someone else, especially when it comes to developing like charisma and being able to be, the word that's coming to mind is dominant, be a more dominant person. I don't mean that in like an aggressive way, but just, someone that people look up to. I think that's what you've got to do is look to the people who you see are doing it really well and like study them and be like, what can I do to copy them? And you hear this a lot. Like, it's not a new thing. You hear it a lot when it's like talking about how they actually do their lives, how they do their lives, how they live their lives, what they did to be successful, like the actions they took. But I'm talking about just like being a person, like the interactions with people. And there's a whole channel, it's called Charisma on Command, that's sort of like this, where they look at different celebrities and they're like, here are the things that they're doing. They break it down. And I find that fascinating because it's like, it's all learnable. It's just, you just have to pick it out and do it. It's not a mystery to be charismatic or to be like unique or to be funny. In some ways, being unique is just stealing a bunch of things from other people and putting it together in a way that no one else has. And some in the audience might be like, that's being fake. You should just be yourself. But what does that even mean? How do you be yourself? Like, can somebody tell me? Because it's one thing to be true to yourself, whatever that. Like, I'm throwing around a bunch of platitudes. I don't even know what they mean. I'm not saying to like forget your center of who you are, but a lot of the stuff on the surface is totally malleable and changeable. And if you take authenticity to an extreme, then it's sort of like, I'm just going to be kind of this bland person because I don't want to change anything about myself, because that would be inauthentic. You know what I mean? A lot of social interaction is kind of like a play. It's kind of like roles you take on. And I think it's good to realize, and maybe this is something obvious that everyone has figured out, but I think especially for you youngins in the audience, this is something that you need to realize, is that it's okay to act a little bit, to kind of play a role. And it also frees you because it brings you outside of yourself a little bit, to be like trying out a character that is more direct, like in what you're saying to people. If your normal way of talking is to be kind of like, oh no, whatever, to try to be more assertive and not just go into it with this nebulous idea of assertiveness, but to like find a person that you can copy and like actually just copy everything they do. And after you've copied it enough times, then you begin to internalize it. It's just something that's been going through my mind recently, because it's weird to think about like so many things. The way I am now is like a patchwork of other people, like the other people that I've either consciously or subconsciously integrated into my personality. And sometimes it's my grandma, and sometimes it's trying to think of a person everyone can get on board with. And sometimes it's Paul McCartney. There you go. Everyone loves him. Actually, I've been watching a lot of Paul McCartney, and he's so good at talking to people and being charismatic, and it's good to like study people like him and just see, what is he doing? How can I copy it? What can I do to be more at ease in these situations, rather than being my default self, which is like kind of tense and maybe a little awkward and a little stumbling over my words, like a mumble mouth. Speaking of Paul, I've been trying to type him, figure out his personality type, and it's very difficult. I'm like running around in circles. So I don't know when that video is going to come out. It'll come out eventually, but it's tough. He's so good at PR that it's like I don't know when I'm seeing him. I don't know when I'm seeing his image. I just don't know. There's my little weird thing for today. So yeah, just copy the best people that you see around you. Like see how you can take from the best and make it part of you. Thanks so much for watching. Leave a like if you liked it, and till next time, stay cool and attractive.